Hey, coach, I have a question for you. As you're working with your clients, whether you're a fitness coach or a business coach or life coach or something else, do you ever get the question, hey, do you have a coach? I've gotten that question before, and depending on your experience with a coach, it can really raise some interesting emotions. I'm going to share with you in this video the $10,000 coaching mistake that I made that has completely changed the way that I find coaches and mentors for myself. You probably know the value of coaching, right? It's super important to be able to have a coach to help facilitate that transformation that you're trying to have a guide who has been on the journey before and they can kind of, lead you and show you the path. That's super important for your clients and it's also important for you. And so when I get that question, like, do you have a coach? I always have a coach, but it's not always necessarily in the same realm. Like used to have a fitness coaching business, and at that time I didn't have a fitness coach. It's not because I knew everything about fitness coaching, but just by practicing the reps, I was in shape and I was, working towards the goals that I had, and I felt like I had direction. Secretly, though, my wife was my coach. She taught me everything that I knew at that point. I think it's always important to have a coach, but not just any coach, because the right coach can really help speed up the growth that you want to have. It can help you get to that goal faster. It can help you go from point A to point B to have that transformation and become the person that you want to be. But the wrong coach can not only slow the process down, but it can completely put you in this mindset of, I'm just going to swear off coaching. Like, I had this horrible experience. I never want to work with a coach again. I'm just going to do it all myself. And not only does that lead to slower progress, you end up spending more money and more energy going through this whole, trying to figure it out myself kind of thing. But you also get into this negative mindset of, I need to do it all myself. There's nobody who can do it but me. I need to be the one to come up with all the ideas and all the things and my offer and do all my marketing and all that. And it's really slows you down and it hinders you and your growth. And the what I think is one of the most important aspects of choosing the right coach is having discernment. And I'm going to share a little bit about why. So years ago, my wife and I, we had this fitness studio and we had made some just, I'm not going to say poor decisions, but less informed decisions. We had tried to go with a target market that seemed like it made sense. We were kind of guided by this real estate um, investor who we were renting the space from, and he's not in our market, right? He's not an expert in what we do, but he kind of guided us towards this thing. And long story short, we ended up choosing the wrong target market. Business growth was really slow, and so we decided to make a shift. And during that time, we were looking at hiring a coach, right? Hiring a coach who could help us grow our fitness business. And so I was watching a couple people, and there was one guy who I had seen he had gotten really great results for his business. Like it had blown up. He was getting tons of testimonials. He was making, millions of dollars through his business. And he took what he learned and he applied it to other businesses and he started teaching other coaches. And I thought to myself, okay, well, if this guy has been there and he's gotten the result for him, he could probably do it for me. He's gotten it for other people too, so I'm going to hire him. So we spent $10,000 to hire this coach, and I should have known it. I didn't know what to pay attention to, but I should have known it at the time. There were three big red flags that I just should have paid attention to, and I'm going to work backwards through them. So when we hired this coach and we started working with them, the first, well, let's say the third red flag was when we got started working with him, we actually didn't get to work with him. And I didn't know it at the time, or when we looked at the offer that he was proposing or that his company was proposing, but we actually didn't get to work directly with him. We got delegated to another one of his coaches. And this is a way that a lot of coaching businesses work, but I came into the relationship thinking I've I've kind of built this, pseudo relationship with him online, looking at some of his content, following him and seeing what he does and the results that he gets for clients and stuff like that. I'm expecting to come in and work with him, and I didn't get to. I got delegated, and that was kind of red flag number one. And as the relationship went on, that first week, their business provided us all sorts of different systems, right? We had scripts for stuff, we had funnels, we had processes, all sorts of follow-up things, we had copy for ads and posts and this and that. It was kind of everything all in one. And we started implementing that. And within the very first month of working with this coach, again, we paid $10,000 to work with him. He their business ended up helping us make that $10,000 back and then some, right? And so on the outside, it looked really good. Like things are working, things are clicking. We made our investment back right away. But on the inside, I felt like there was a disconnect. Like it was just not working for me. And the reason for that was the processes, the systems, and more importantly, the psychology and the approach and the values of how we went about doing things and getting clients and helping people just was not in alignment with me. It just didn't feel great. um, I felt like I was called to like a higher level of service and to be able to help people on a deeper level. And that's not really what they taught. And it didn't fit with me well. And so that was red flag number two. And the third red flag was something that I didn't really, I chose to ignore, and I shouldn't have, because I think it was one of the most important things that could have probably helped me avoid those, the second and third red flags. And it was the character and the energy that this coach put off. Now, everybody's kind of got their own personality, right? They've got their own values, their own ethics, the aura that they bring to a relationship, right? Like every single person has a bit of a different feel or a different vibe. This particular coach, not saying that he was a bad person by any means, but his energy did not match my own. His character and values seemed to be very far off. He was more of a cocky person rather than just really humble. And that didn't really resonate with me very well. But the reason I chose to ignore it was because he got the result, right? He got the result for himself, he got the result for his other clients. And so that was the only thing, like I kind of had tunnel vision, right? The only thing I'm looking at is the result. And looking back on that, now I know that the end doesn't justify the means, meaning that just because I can get the result, just because hiring this coach or this mentor can help me get the result, doesn't mean that the way that we get that result is justified or aligned, right? And so there are really three key things that I learned from that that have completely changed the way that I look for mentors, that I look for coaches. And it's the reason why I'm in Bali right now, to spend some time with one of my coaches. And those three things. So I used to kind of think it's all about the promise, right? It's all about the promise, the result that they can deliver, helping me go from here to here. And not only that, but the price, right? That was a big thing in my mind too. Like the price has got to make sense. And it's not that. It is completely neither of those things. I mean, you have to be realistic about price, right? It's not something you want to go into like if you can't afford something that's going to make you all stressed out and stuff. That's got to fit. But it's not just about the promise either. Like those two things are important. But what's even more important than that, there's three key things, and each one of those red flags would have told me what to look for. And the very first, most important one is that the energy of this person, the vibe, the values, they align with you. Like you click. They're one of your people, almost like you're cut from the same cloth. Two peas in a pod, that kind of thing, right? If that is off, the whole rest of the relationship does not work. It has to be on, right? Like you've probably got those clients that you work with, and you could tell when you have that conversation with them, you're on a call or whatever in a session, they are just like excited, right? You both get energy. It's like this give and take kind of thing. And you both walk away from that session and you're like, man, that felt good. That felt really productive. I love spending, like, I wish all my clients were like this person, right? You, you want to feel like that from the client perspective when you hire a coach and a mentor. And so that's number one. You have to be able to click with them. Your values have to align. Your faith. For me, faith is a huge thing that has to align for me to have the best experience and have the longest relationship and best relationship working with a coach. Now, the second thing is their model or their mechanism. And essentially, that is the way that they go about helping their clients get a certain result, right? If you are aligned with their process and how they do things, and you implement it, you're going to feel good about it. That first coach that I hired for that fitness studio we had, I didn't feel good about it. I felt icky. It felt just like it drained me. I didn't want to do more of it. It wasn't a good fit. But when you find something and you're like, yes, this is it. Like this makes sense. I'm excited about this. I could see myself doing that. And not all coaches will put all that information out there to show you, like, here's kind of the process of how we do things. You want to make sure that you get really clear on that and get as much information as you can so that when you join their program or you start working with them, you know, these are the things that we're going to be working on, and that aligns with me. I get energy from that. I could see myself doing that. Okay. So you have to align with them. You have to align with their model or their process or what have you. And then the third thing is the actual offer, right? In my story that I shared, my coaching with this other coach was delegated to one of the coaches on their team, and I didn't know about that. And frankly, I didn't like it, right? I didn't like the idea of being delegated to someone else because I built this relationship with this person, this kind of fake online relationship because I had never actually met them in person. But I could tell who they were, and I wanted to learn from them, and that was the big thing. And even though I was learning the same systems and processes and stuff that they developed, I never actually got to connect with them. And if I had known that as part of the offer, it might have made me reconsider things, right? And maybe I wouldn't have approached it from that perspective. Maybe I wouldn't have joined. But when you are aligned with their offer, like, here's what you're going to get, here's how we're going to work together to help implement this process to help you get that result, it makes it much more likely that you're actually going to achieve that success and enjoy the process of doing it, right? So if you're somebody who you love working with somebody one-on-one, like that's really important to you, well, that's something you want to look for. If you see the value in having some group work, right? Like you and some other coaches working with the mentor that you're hiring, because there's value in other people's questions that they're asking and you learn from the same things that they're learning from, that's something that you want to consider, right? If you want to have them available all the time or most of the time, or there are certain tools that you really feel like would help your business, right? Those are the types of things that you want to look for. Even the timing of communication or how often you're going to meet or what have you, right? There's so many different things that you can look at when it comes to an offer, but knowing that that offer is going to be something that's going to serve you and support you in the way that you know, because you know yourself best, right? You know yourself better than anybody else. You know how you work. You've probably noticed certain times in growing your business, or that's kind of what we're talking about, growing your business, finding a coach or a mentor to help you do that. You've probably noticed that there are certain patterns that come about, right? Like, every couple of weeks I kind of start to feel this lull, or I get this voice in my head saying you're doing this wrong, or you're not doing this, or you should be doing this, right? Like if you notice some of those patterns, that's something when you're looking for a solution or a coach, and you're looking at their offer, those are things that you should keep in mind, right? Because when you start to notice that, you know yourself best, then you're going to know whether or not you're going to work well with that offer and the way that program or that coaching, that mentorship is going to be delivered. Okay. Um, Now, there's a couple things that I want to mention. There's this Bible verse. I wrote it down here. It comes from Proverbs. I think it's Proverbs, yeah, 27:17. And it says, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another, right? And the purpose of that verse is just to help us to be in community, right? To lock arms with one another, to help make each other better, right? Hold each other to a higher standard. So, we start down here, but we work together and we keep growing together, and then we get better and better and better and better. And that's what a great coaching relationship should look like. But as I was thinking about this isn't necessarily the message that the Bible's trying to put across, but I thought it was kind of interesting, so I'm going to share it with you anyways. Um, it says iron sharpens iron. It doesn't say gold sharpens iron. It doesn't say that silver sharpens iron or clay sharpens iron, right? It says iron sharpens iron. And so when I think about that, applying that to this, I almost think like when you're finding a coach or a mentor, you're iron. And in order for you to be sharpened, and in order for them to be sharpened and to grow in this process alongside you, they need to be iron too, right? Their values, their character, their faith, their foundation, it needs to be aligned, because if one person is iron and the other's not, neither of you are getting sharpened, right? There's going to be conflict. It's just not going to work out. It's not going to be smooth. It's not going to serve the purpose that it's meant to serve as well as it could, right? The other verse that I wanted to share um, is I can't remember exactly what it says, so I'm going to paraphrase it, but it comes from Proverbs 15:22, and it talks about how when you have few advisors, then plans are likely to fail, right? Like if you don't have a coach, or if you don't have coaches or people that are in your life that help you grow in certain areas, your plans are probably going to fail. But if you've got advisors, if you've got mentors, if you've got coaches to help you grow, your plans are more likely to succeed. And so we know the value of a coach, right? I'm preaching to the choir here. When you have a good coach, though, you grow faster. When you have a poor coach, it's going to slow you down. And not poor meaning they're a bad coach, but meaning that they're not the best fit for you. So don't force it. It's important to have a coach, but it's even more important to have discernment in that process of selecting one, and to not just say, I need a coach because I need a coach, right? Because if you choose the wrong one, you're going to end up like I did, $10,000 in the hole, making your money back and growing, but feeling this like ache inside that this just isn't the right fit. And that's not a good place you want to be in. So if you are in the process right now of looking for a coach or a mentor, or maybe you have one and you're just feeling kind of like I was, a little bit off, like this relationship isn't all that I had hoped for, whether it's you're not a good fit with them, you don't vibe, you're not part of each other's same tribe, or the process, the model that they're helping me implement isn't something that I really click with. It's not the way that I like doing it. It's not the means that I want to help justify that end result that I want to have. Or if it's just the offer and it's like, this is not a good fit. I was thinking we were going to work together this way. So if you're looking for a coach, or you have a coach and something's just feeling a little bit off, here's what I suggest you do. You want to clarify, get really, really clear on your non-negotiables. Like this in each of those areas, right? My non-negotiables as far as what type of person am I looking for in a coach? Like they've probably, right, in order to be a good coach, they've either done the thing for themselves and gotten that result, or they've helped other people do it, or they've done both, right? Um, that's one thing, and that's like the lowest level. But really, as a person, values, faith, foundation, beliefs, those type of things, that has to align. So get really clear on those. Maybe write down some of those things that are important to you that you're like, I'm not going to work with a coach if they don't meet these criteria. Then do the same thing with the model, the process. Like, this is really what I'm looking for. Maybe that's just some practical examples. Maybe that's online growing your business versus in-person networking type stuff. Maybe it's um, how they're delivering a program, right? What type of marketing they're doing, how they're approaching sales, whether it's doing sales calls, or you got DMs, or it's inbound through something like a micro VSL, right? Maybe it's the way that you build your offer, doing a whole bunch of different offers versus just having one core access offer that's got different tiers and could serve people at different levels, right? Get really clear on what that process is, what you're looking for, so that and you can decide, you can discern whether or not this coach that you're looking at fits what you're looking for and how you want to grow and run your business. And then lastly, third, get really clear on what you want that offer to look like. Now, it doesn't have to fit perfectly, right? You're probably going to have a bunch of things that you could list out for an offer that you're like, this is exactly what I want. And maybe there's no coach out there that offers that. Or maybe it would just take so much digging that, it's just challenging to find somebody. But if there are a couple elements that are really important to you, like for me, I wanted to work with the coach that I was watching, right? If that's important to you, make sure that that's one of your non-negotiables. If having a little bit of one-on-one time is super important to you, write that down. If having something like Zoom chat or WhatsApp or, Slack, something like that, where you can send in questions and get responses a little bit quicker, but not necessarily live all the time, write that down. And when you get really clear on those non-negotiables for the person, the model, and the offer, it's going to take the stress away of trying to find a coach. And not only that, it's going to make your experience with whatever coach you find so much better. It's going to feel like a strong relationship. You're going to feel good about the work that you're doing, and you're going to love the way that you're doing it. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Um, I know it's been helpful for me. It's been, a $10,000 mistake that I learned, but I'm hoping that sharing this with you is going to help make your experience finding your next coach that much better.